Yesterday game was horrendous, bro. I mean, it was bad. I mean, this one might be one for the ages, bro. I can't even lie. The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. I mean, they got their issue off in a major way, bro. I mean, there was countless of times I could literally look at the screen and know that was a...
What if I told you the real MVP of the WNBA isn't lacing up sneakers, but blowing a whistle with a vengeance? Strap in, because we just unearthed footage so outrageous, it makes reality TV look like a Sunday sermon. Caitlin Clark didn't just get fouled, she got flat out robbed. And the evidence? It's sloppier than a toddler at spaghetti night. This ref didn't miss a call, they made a statement. And yes, it's all caught on camera. Let's break it down.
So lads, today the referees gave the report on the situation, and it's even worse. It's even worse than I imagined, and it was pretty grim. Like, it was a pretty grim overall, it was a pretty grim overall.
WNBA, and seeing how things are run, seeing how things are done, and after you've seen what it looks like to get it right, and you come in and see something looking really wrong, you're going to call it out. It is what it is. You're going to be critical of players. If they do something shady or classless, you're going to call that out.
And the whistle blows again. Not for a foul, not for a travel, but apparently for the crime of existing while being Caitlin Clark. Because let's be real, this isn't basketball anymore. It's a low-budget soap opera where the referees are moonlighting as cartoon villains. Between the phantom fouls, the oops, didn't see that punches to the face, and the consistent refusal to blow the whistle when it actually matters, WNBA officiating has gone from questionable to downright theatrical. These refs aren't calling a game. They are starring in their own chaos-fueled melodrama, armed with whistles and zero accountability.
Share with you guys an article that I found that honestly gives us so much insight into the WNBA referees, how they are hired, how much they make. And there's one section that really stood out to me, and they break down essentially why they are making the calls that they make. And they also talk about the influx of new fans flooding to the WNBA. They talk about Caitlin Clark a little bit. This article to me was really telling. It actually came out in January, but it was published by SB Nation, and it's entitled How WNBA Referees Are Scouted, Trained, and Held Accountable.
The audience isn't confused anymore. They are exhausted. This isn't suspense. It's sabotage in slow motion. Crooked officiating isn't just ruining games. It's sucking the joy out of a league that should be thriving. Fans aren't tuning in for whistle-driven improved theater. They came for basketball, not a one-act drama where the refs steal the spotlight. It's like watching a baking show where the judges cut the power mid-bake and then blame the contestant for the disaster. And Caitlin Clark, she's the one left smiling through the sabotage, watching her three-tier masterpiece turn into floor soup, while the refs nod like it's business as usual.
You would think, with what they say coming into the season, Kathy was made it her business to let them know that, referees is going to be getting assessed for this next season and make sure they're making the right, proper calls. Man, at this point, we need NBA refs all the time, bro. I don't want these YMCA, junior league, high school ass referees, bro. We need real life refs, because as of right now, they're costing the Indiana Fever major games that they definitely need to win.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark looks tired. And not the played 40 minutes and dropped 30 kind of tired. This is deep, soul-worn, existential exhaustion. The kind that comes from knowing you could hang 60 on the scoreboard and still get hit with a charge because you blinked too aggressively. She's carrying a franchise, a league, and half the women's basketball fandom on her back, and somehow the refs are out here making sure her shoelaces are tied together every time she touches the ball.
Remember how last year started? You remember the lopsided officiating that we got last year? The All-Star break comes around, the Olympic break rolls around, and then what did we hear from Lynn Dunn? Lynn Dunn goes on the Dan Dockage show, and she calls out the officiating. She calls out the referee. She calls out the WNBA. The lopsidedness that is being shown not in favor of the Indiana Fever. The clear biases when it comes to foul calls. The clear biases when it comes to not calling foul calls. Last year, it took us...
Of course she's depressed. Wouldn't you be? Imagine being world-class at your job, showing up night after night to perform miracles, only to realize your toughest opponent isn't wearing the opposing jersey. It's the zebras with whistles. The same ones who somehow miss full-on assaults but flag her for basic movement, like she's violating some secret anti-glow-up clause. The treatment she's getting isn't just wrong, it's cartoonishly wrong. It's Caitlyn accidentally stepped into a parallel universe where logic doesn't exist wrong. And as for Coach Stephanie White, she didn't just lose her cool, she donated it to science. She looked like she was auditioning for a reboot of Whose Line Is It Anyway, where every prompt was react to yet another outrageously bad call. Pacing, yelling, turning progressively red like a human thermometer of injustice. It wasn't coaching, it was a live-action seminar on gaslighting in sports. The refs weren't even pretending to be impartial. They were freestyling calls like it was jazz night at the officiating lounge. No rules, just vibes.
A bit holistically, I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs...
There's really no other way to say it. Caitlin Clark is being treated like she committed a crime against basketball, when all she did was make it relevant again. The WNBA said it wanted visibility. Well, congratulations, you got it. And now the referees are squinting into the spotlight like vampires caught at high noon, panicking under the pressure of actual scrutiny. They weren't ready. Not for the fans, not for the replays, and definitely not for the tidal wave of questions. Every bad call is a meme in 5 seconds. Twitter's got slow-mo breakdowns of every flop, non-call, and logic-defying whistle like it's the Zapruder film of WNBA officiating. And somehow, it keeps escalating. Caitlyn goes for a fast break. Whistle. Makes a clean steal. Violation. Breathes too aggressively in the paint. Technical foul. Meanwhile, the other team is out here filming the sequel to a UFC highlight reel. High-fived for every takedown. It's like the refs think the WNBA is a choose-your-own-adventure novel where every path ends with Caitlyn in detention. It's not just bad officiating, it's psychological warfare. And yet, through all of it, she plays with the poise of a veteran in her rookie year, carrying a target the size of Iowa between her shoulder blades.
That the officiating in the WNBA became as hot button of an issue as any. Heated debates surrounding the league's physicality dominated the headlines, particularly when Indiana Fever star rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls. Now, they also brought up Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. We actually made a whole video about that as well because there were some suspect calls at the end of that game, and a lot of people felt like the WNBA Finals were actually...
Every time Caitlin Clark gets up, someone's right there to knock her back down, sometimes literally. And on the sideline, Coach Stephanie White is putting on performances more iconic than the games themselves. She's basically become the unofficial voice of reason. If reason came with red-faced yelling, clipboard-smashing energy, and the facial expressions of someone actively losing faith in the laws of physics, you can practically hear her inner monologue screaming, "Are you serious?" every 2 minutes. She's protesting so fiercely it's a miracle she hasn't been mic'd up and handed her own post-game therapy show. And can you blame her? Watching your franchise player get hacked like an old Amazon password and not hearing a whistle would make anyone snap. But instead of celebrating Caitlyn's grit and brilliance, we're stuck dissecting slow-mo footage of her getting blindsided, while the refs stand motionless, perfecting their statue impressions. It's surreal. Like we've stumbled into a parody universe where talent gets punished, mediocrity gets standing ovations, and every great play is followed by a whistle, a shrug, or...
It took us 4 games for Stephanie White to say, "I've had enough." It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, "You know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right." But today was the last straw when it came for Stephanie White. The New York Liberty get to the free throw line 32 times. The Indiana Fever this season have a discrepancy -31 when it comes to free throws. That doesn't seem right.
Because that's exactly how it feels. Fans are noticing. The boos are louder. The arenas are rumbling. And online, The internet is foaming at the mouth with slow-mo receipts and side-by-side breakdowns. Nobody's buying the just part of the game excuse anymore. If anything, it looks like the game's being run by a group of sleep-deprived interns on a caffeine bender, ones who treat consistency like a suggestion, not a standard. And if that sounds harsh, good. It should be, because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about what happens when true star power collides with a system that was never designed to handle it. The referees? They are clinging to their authority like it's the last slice of pizza at a party, blowing calls with the boldness of people who've never had their decisions analyzed in HD by 5 million furious fans. Caitlin's offense is too smooth. Fine, make the game harder. Stack the deck. Turn every touch into a foul, every clean steal into a violation. That's the playbook now. And if something doesn't change soon, this won't end with applause. It'll end with fans walking out, wondering why they ever believed in the script to begin with. And just when you think the officiating circus can't crank any higher, bam, they turn the chaos dial to 11. These refs weren't just bad. They were Olympic-level bad. Like, did you borrow your rulebook from a coloring book? Bad. It was less professional officiating, more interpretive performance art with whistles.